Who Knew? We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, where we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights of this current incarnation of the show. Today's episode, we will be discussing Episode 7, The Long Game. It aired on the 7th of May, 2005, and was watched by 7.51 million viewers. It's written by Russell T. Davies, directed by Brian Grant, and produced by Phil Collinson. In this episode, the Doctor, Rose, and Adam arrive on Satellite 5, Earth's orbiting broadcast station, to find that there is more to the news than is being reported. Today, we have the same group as last time. Let's go around again. So here.
Josh.
Arlene.
Frank.
Brian.
Auburn.
Kelsey.
And Eugene. Hello again. This episode starts off with them arriving on Satellite 5. In an attempt to impress Adam, Rose has been prepped by the Doctor on their location. They have arrived on Satellite 5, an immense space station orbiting Earth that transmits all the news to the entire planet. It is the year 200,000. 200,000.
How do you know that the Doctor prepped Rose to say all that stuff? I thought it was just Rose becoming an experienced time traveler.
He comes right out and says all that stuff. And
The first scene, the Doctor comes out.
She repeats it back to Adam.
Adam hasn't come out of the TARDIS yet.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Wow.
Yeah, he does it really quick. He walks out and goes, "Up, space
hit and
station,
miss.
200,000. All right, go ahead."
Yeah.
And he does kind of say it like under his breath, like this is this, this is this, this is that.
And she just remembers it all. We welcome back Adam. Well, I don't know if we welcome him back, but Adam is played. It's played by actor Bruno Langley, and we'll have some other actors coming in later. But this is the year, or this is the time of the fourth great and bountiful human empire. Our three travelers look out a large window of the space station and see the Earth rotating below as Adam faints.
Wimp.
Yeah. I think it's funny that when Adam exits the TARDIS, he says, "Where are we?" instead of the traditional, "When are we?"
Right.
I also found it funny that you notice on the channel that it's smiley face +1.
Yeah,
That's the channel.
that's the channel name.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Well, and then another one, Bad Wolf TV.
Yes,
Right.
that's the other one, with the face of Bo returning. I think this is his second appearance, or
He's
his first.
pregnant.
Yeah, pregnant.
And also, when this is just coming up, the next scene, the Doctor tells Adam to open your mind, which is a little foreshadowing of what's going to be coming.
Yeah.
But everything is so different and so new. Open your mind and experience it.
Yeah, and when he faints, the Doctor comments, "He's your boyfriend,"
Right.
and Rose goes, "Not anymore."
And did you notice that Rose is also wearing like sexier clothes? Mm-hmm. So she's kind of like,
She's
I'm
impressing.
impressing.
Yeah.
Oh, you think that's why?
Oh, for sure. Her
Oh, yes.
makeup's a little bit darker. She's being a little more sultry. She's wearing all black and very fitted.
And it's like workout, almost clothes. Not quite.
No, it's not really workout clothes because if you think about it, when it was filmed, that was more of
The style.
the fashion at that time.
It's a nice jacket. It's got a little asymmetrical zipper going on. This period in time is supposed to be the pinnacle of mankind, but things are wrong. The station is overly hot and the people are abrupt and rude. It almost reminds me of Blade Runner, but not rainy. You know what I mean? Like it's just jam-packed full of people and like vendors and...
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like steamy, but not cold. Anyway.
Yeah, it's supposed to be idealistic and it's supposed to have
Yeah.
great cuisine, and they have beef slushies instead.
Krog burgers.
But do they, I know we'll get to it, but do they explain? They later on explain why, but do they explain why it actually changed time? Like why wouldn't he be aware? Like if
Who? The Doctor?
Doctor, like, well, we'll get to that later.
Not in this episode,
No, okay. Well then,
They do explain.
but you know, you have to play
Right.
the long game.
You lost me with this half.
Yeah, I'm a little lost. Continue.
yeah, we'll get to.
We'll try to help you.
Time travel is very confusing, and he's asking if if the doctor knows everything, how come he doesn't know this has been wrong for the last 90 years?
Or why it went wrong. And the doctor doesn't know why it went wrong.
Okay. So they
And that's all
Because
time
the
travel.
doctor's walking around going,
confusion.
this isn't right.
And he's trying to figure it out.
And he's trying to figure it out. And he finds out what happens, but we never find out why it wasn't right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But you're saying that's in a later episode?
Uh-huh.
We'll get
All
there.
right.
Adam notices that there are only humans aboard the space station, and the doctor agrees there should be other species. The doctor gets rid of Adam and Rose by supplying them with some credits that he, I guess, kind of stole
Acquired.
from the ATM.
Created.
He meets these two women, Kathika and Suki, two of the many journalists who create and package the news, and whose goals are to be promoted to the floor or to the 500th floor. The doctor, Kathika, and Suki are being observed by a mysterious man, the editor. So I'd like to take a moment, and the editor is guest starred by Simon Pegg, who we know from Shaun of the Dead and
Many other things.
many other things.
You're going to take a moment to geek out? Is that what it is?
Oh no, I'm going to move right on.
Okay.
Kathika is played by Christine Adams, who we've seen in such things as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which we mentioned last episode. She played Agent Weaver, and she was in Pushing Daisies and
Terranova.
the horrible Terra Nova. Side note, I ran into her just by chance, and I think she was casting for probably Castle or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Did she tell you hated Terra Nova?
I didn't want to be rude. I just thought that was implied.
I thought Simon Pegg was great.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
He
After Eugene's done name dropping.
Right.
sorry.
I know you don't actually know these people.
No, I don't know these people. I just wanted to point them out that they've
Because you watch someone on television doesn't mean you
been in
know
stuff.
them.
Or bump into them.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I guess you did bump into
I've
one
also
of them.
I've also bumped into Mickey, but I didn't mention that. Oh wait.
I was with you.
Yeah.
You did not bump into him. We just walked right by him.
Oh.
Well, there was a time shift, and then so I stopped from bumping into him.
That was the
No, he
whiny
walked
part.
by and we both stopped, looked at each other, and went, Mickey! But, you know, that's about it.
He looked very busy. I don't
He
know.
was really busy. that
Yeah.
You didn't say Mickey the Idiot?
I don't think that would have won.
I assumed you were talking about Mouse, so.
Oh, side note, I've been to Disneyland with everybody here. All right. The editor is monitoring the doctor and his activities as they go throughout the station with security cameras in an icy room. He senses that there is something wrong with someone in this group and orders his frozen staff to find out who. Adam is having difficulty processing all the strangeness around him. Rose gives him her phone so that he can call home and give him some sense of normalcy. They join.
See, she's paralleling the doctor
Yeah.
from End of the World.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Adam is her and she's the doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
But-
right, because he told her to go up on the observation deck.
And
Yeah.
she knows where they are.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's even wimpier.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't faint.
She never fainted. No.
That's why he's not her boyfriend.
That is true.
They join the doctor and the two journalists and are shown how the news is processed. And they say something like unfiltered or something. I don't know if anybody caught that, but it kind of reminded me of like BBC's news. Like that's the source to go to.
Oh, it reminded me of Fox News.
Uh,
Sorry to bring up.
Who says unfiltered? The news reporter?
yeah, they say something about we're giving the news to the masses. And
Oh, right. Something in
yeah,
unfiltered, right.
Something like that. And it reminded me of like BBC, because BBC puts out Doctor Who, BBC News. Anyway. A hole opens up in Kathika's forehead to allow data streaming to her brain as a processor to organize all the news on Earth. Suki and 6 other journalists are linked to her by chips implanted in their heads and placed in a circle around Kathika. They begin to sort and transmit the data. The editor has been watching all of this and discovers that somebody is not who they claim to be. He shuts down their link and sends a message, and it turns out to be Suki that is not who they seem to be. And she is promoted to go to the 500th floor at the chagrin of Kathika. we find out only a few ever make it to the floor 500, and that once you do, you never come back. I wanted to point out here that after Adam realizes that he can call home, the gears start turning in his brain.
Yeah, you see that like little suspicious moment he has
Yeah.
before they go walking, where he puts the phone in his pocket.
He goes and buys a sports almanac.
Yeah, I was going to say back to the with the dust jacket. What's that? So I think that's kind of cool how they did it. It's more done in the acting and his look rather than like.
Well, there was a bad person Sting when he first
Yeah.
puts
Yeah.
that phone in his pocket. You know he's
It's
up to no
very
good.
manipulated for us to know exactly what's happening.
Well, he was working for someone who manipulated stuff to
That's true.
use for their own advantage.
And he has a history with alien technology, so he shouldn't be too overwhelmed by.
Yeah, I keep forgetting
by all
he's
of
supposed
that.
to be smart.
He's supposed to be a genius from the last episode.
Yeah, but wait a minute. He is in the year 200,000.
I don't care.
He's in a space station above Earth.
He should be more geeking out than overwhelmed.
Well, it's different than dealing with a hairdryer.
Or a musical instrument.
Yeah, right.
So after Suki arrives to the frozen 500th floor, we find out that she is a resistance fighter trying to stop the false manipulating information being broadcasted by the station.
No, we're here already, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta
did we
stop
tell-
you. It's not 500th floor. It's floor 500. It's like a station. It's like a
okay.
channel. It's like,
about the
you don't go to channel 7. You go to channel 7, not the seventh
seventh
channel on your TV. So I think it's
Okay.
it's part of the whole
500.
story. I think that it is floor 500. It is floor 139
I
rather than
think
just.
500th floor sounds better, but I know what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I think he's right because it's a
Yeah.
different place as opposed to a floor of the same place.
Right.
But
Especially since no one really travels between floors except to the 16th.
That's right. For the operation, non-medical emergencies.
but did you talk about the part where they're sitting in a circle and her forehead opens?
Yes.
Oh, I just wasn't listening to you.
Yeah, so that happened. Did you want to say something about that?
Ew.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting how like when they were all asleep and frozen, and there's that mislead where the editor, you think the editor is going to be talking about the doctor and Rose and Bruno, whatever, and he ends up talking about someone else. But
Yes.
it's that part two where we start learning about what's not right and what is right through the doctor and through Rose, and it's setting up a lot of stuff.
It's a nice little switch where you think one thing and then it's actually Suki is the thing. That,
Right, and how different
Yeah.
because up till then everything seems sort of normal to us. It's just people in that world walking around because there weren't any aliens. So like,
Yeah.
what is the weird thing? The weird thing is her forehead opens and they all plug themselves into a computer and they go unconscious.
Yeah.
And that's also when the doctor starts saying things like, not only is the technology wrong, but humans are wrong.
Yeah, they're not
At this
thinking
point,
right.
humans
yeah.
are complacent.
Yeah.
They're not thinking. This is supposed to be the pinnacle of humankind, and they're not thinking for themselves. They don't seem to have any cares.
They're being
They're being manipulated.
by Fox News.
Exactly. You can address your comments to Eugene at Who Knew?
What does the fox say?
Let's not do that. I don't like that song. So we see Simon Pegg, and he's very frosted over kind of thing.
Is he really frosted over, or is his hair just bleached to like? Because he didn't
might
have any actual frost on him.
He might have frosted tips.
All right. You're complaining about my joke?
I'm not complaining.
All right. No complaints.
He's the least frosted of the people.
Right. I guess it is. His look is consistent with that.
Because everybody else around in him or with him is all frozen.
Right.
But,
And
but
dead.
he must have been like genetically manipulated somehow to withstand the cold. But at this point, we learn that Suki is a resistance fighter, and she pulls a weapon on the editor and asks who is running Satellite 5. He points upwards, and she screams as a snarling voice above her, I guess, attacks her.
Slowly attacks her.
And she fires shots, but to no avail.
I don't know if they rented a crane or something,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of over the head shots, very high shot angles, even when it's not from the point of view of the alien.
Yeah.
Even when they first come in and they're walking around, all of Simon Pegg's security cam footage is all from that high angle. So whatever they did to do that, they sure got their money's worth.
Oh
out of it.
yeah, maybe we got this crane. We got to use it.
Yeah.
We have to elevate.
Well, maybe also too, it was just sort of a motif to because they are on the top, like they're looking down on them. It's just sort of that feeling.
Like Big Brother. Type
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it also is to just reiterate that, from later on, the alien oversees everything. And
Yeah.
just literally, we're having that overseen feeling throughout the whole
Yeah,
episode.
and it feels like a security camera as opposed to just hidden cameras around a room, like a nanny cam or
Yeah.
something like that. It definitely feels like they are subjects that they're studying as opposed to that.
Agreed. Adam tells Rose this is too much to take in and needs some time alone, but he has other plans. He wants to learn the future technology and tries to send it to his answering machine by using Rose's phone. He discovers that he needs augmentation to his brain to access the information, either the chip or the hole in his forehead. He chooses to go for the hole in the head and literally open his mind.
Oh, that fool.
Yeah. The doctor questions Kathika about the station. Human growth and evolution is all wrong and has been stunted for the last 90 years. He says that that the technology is old and that even the way humans think is different. He also asks her about why there are no aliens on the station, and she replies that various little reasons have stopped aliens from coming. He comments that she is a journalist and should think and ask questions rather than accept things presented to her.
All those little things adding up to one big fact, and no one noticed.
Yeah.
I was thinking this when I watched the episode, but I don't know if I answered it though. Was when Suki gets to the top, to the floor 500, and no one's there to grab her or meet her. She just
Wanders
kind of
in.
wanders in, and he's just waiting for her to get to him. It just when it happened, like when she actually got to him, it didn't bother me. I thought, oh, they just opened the door. She just gets up there and they don't care about her, so he's just sort of waiting for her to get there. But he's also trying to catch her in the lie and throw her off guard. Maybe that's what it was. Because I thought it was well done because she stumbles across the bodies. It's that old way of making suspense in a movie or a television show. But I'm like, when they get her up there and they don't do any, like if they were gonna grab her and turn her into a thing, they would have just grabbed her into, so like why is she just wandering around? But then I realized he's trying to throw her off guard.
Trying to catch her in the
Yeah,
lie
yeah.
type of
So
thing.
That bothered me too, though, because even if she was there for a promotion, you would think somebody would be there to
Right.
greet her
Well,
and not
well,
let her
but
stumble over.
at that point, the ruse
They're
is
such
over.
in charge. I mean, they're in such control. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. She'll find her way. I mean, they don't care. They're. I mean, I think it's kind of their arrogance, and I don't think it's a bad thing on their part. It's like I'm in charge.
I did find it funny that she stumbled across those bodies, and it worked with the shots that they chose. But when they cut wide, it's all lit.
Yeah.
Like she wouldn't have been able to stumble across that in any way. She would have seen it like the second she went through the plastic. But whatever.
There was a few seams showing, I think, in this episode, like even that 90 years. When did they get here? 91 years ago, or
Like
it
how
was
are
just-
you gonna know that? Like
Yeah, that was
91?
like a little too convenient, but it's okay. I understand. It's just
Yeah,
television.
like I didn't mind him saying that, but like no regular person knows exactly, like, oh, around 90-something years, they'd say 90-something years ago.
about
or-
100 years ago.
Yeah, because they did say that. They said almost 100 years ago, and that was, I think, was a news report.
Okay.
Didn't they say that? Like, I think one of the news reports said about 100 years ago. It was like an official thing. So even the official people weren't saying the exact amount of
yeah.
years.
But if you're working there, I mean, I'll
Or maybe
just
she
put it
was
over
trying-
to Disneyland.
oh.
If you know how many years Disneyland's been there,
Well,
with all the
yeah,
different
but then
things.
she would have said like if she still thought she was still being tested, she would have said 91 years to be impressive. But she was like about 91, like she wasn't even sure.
Well, they just had the
Seem. It was
90th.
seem. I like that term.
Well, they celebrated their 90th year the year before, so she had to remember it was 91.
I wanted to point out that the torch that Suki uses, the flashlight, is not very illuminating.
Oh yeah, well, that's probably because there were probably
For the camera,
flares
I
in the
get
light.
it.
I
But
mean-
and also, it just looks like a normal flashlight that we'd find today, rather than a spacey flashlight.
Yeah, it wasn't very spacey.
Well, even the slushies, the beef slushies they were drinking were just looked like fast food from today with a straw.
But
I think that was sort
I
of
think was intentional.
yeah.
I mean, I
so
think
maybe
they were
that's-
doing that to just say mass market
Yeah.
consumerism.
But maybe that's sort of the same thing. It's just that they are behind. They're not where they should be.
Right.
Flashlight advancement has not progressed in 91 years.
I'm just thinking if they have implants in their heads, they could have implants to illuminate things.
Well, that is a good point.
But the implants in their heads are for a purpose, so they can steal all your information. But they don't want to help you out, so
Well,
why
that's
would they
true.
illuminate things?
Well, that's true. That's probably why the whole floor is being used to cool something down rather than to illuminate things.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
I was trying to think of some flashlight/torch joke, but nothing came to mind.
The Doctor tears apart some cables and gains access to a computer core for the satellite. Looking at the ventilation system, they discover that the station is so hot because of massive heat being channeled down from floor 500. I got it right.
Thank you.
Rose and the Doctor want to find out what is generating that heat. The editor has been watching and wants to meet these people, so he sends down the floor 500 access code so they can use the elevator.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah, of course.
I really liked earlier when he was questioning Kathika. What is it?
Kathika.
Okay, around the 91 years part where she would explain something and he would say why, and then she would answer why. I was like, when? You know, he just kept like throwing very calmly these questions and how like this is how he thinks. And again, it was good writing because it was quirky the way he was doing it, but he was asking everything we wanted to know, so it told us. So it was giving us exposition in a really quirky and interesting way.
Yeah, and I think it served the story rather than to be like, oh, this is an exposition scene.
Right, like we had to know it, and it wasn't like someone just rattling off a bunch of stuff. It's just
Yeah.
like he was asking the questions, he was investigating, but like, yeah, it was good.
And it showed, a little bit more of Kathika's and the whole genre of people at this time going, well, just cuz is basically her answers.
Right.
Well,
And
what
in a-
threats?
And in a way,
The
too,
regular ones.
yeah, right, exactly. And then, but in a way too, maybe it started her on her little journey to break out of that.
I do think it
Sure.
opened it up a bit.
You know, that's why, because someone who is such a sheep wouldn't go up to the floor by herself and wouldn't have done what she did. But I think it was that little question and answer scene that's kind of lit the fuse of her changing the way she is.
You claim you're a journalist, but this is what you're supposed to be doing as a journalist.
Right. Look at that. She's like Lois Lane on the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, too soon.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, I thought you meant Lois Lane.
Oh. After reaching floor 500, Rose and the Doctor discover that Suki is dead. But because of the chip in her head, she is now being used by the editor as one of his security staff. The editor captures the Doctor and Rose and introduces them to the editor-in-chief, the mighty Jagrafess of the Holy I Don't Know. Would you like to take a stab at that, Frank?
Hadrojasic Maxarodinfo.
And
Max.
Max just call. They just call him Max. This giant slug-like alien has been controlling the human race through misinformation and fear-mongering. If that's not a metaphor for I don't know what. Because of this, the human race has stopped asking questions and has become complacent. The editor is perplexed by Rose and the Doctor because there is no information on them at all. He begins to question them.
I finally get it. They got it wrong the whole time when they were thinking that floor 500, the walls are made of gold. The walls are made of cold. Sorry about that. I apologize.
Not would you like to take that back. Would you like to build a snowman?
Take that back.
Now we have crickets playing. Okay.
You people.
All the times you've mentioned Frozen, I have not made one Frozen comment.
I was waiting.
I
That
know.
one was for you.
I know.
Specifically.
I know.
I looked right at you.
Did anyone else think that the Jagerfest looked like just a big zit on the ceiling?
I thought of it more like bubble gum that someone like kind of like squished up there or something. Yeah.
Well, they said they wanted to make it look like a shark, but hanging down, so that's why the teeth look like that.
Really?
They
I don't-
they
yeah.
missed it.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the look.
No, it's
Or
weird.
a uvula. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not helping.
No, the editor had a great line in this saying, is a slave if he doesn't know he's enslaved?
Yeah.
And wanting a whole philosophical discussion on that, which I thought would be good, but the doctor just says, yes, he's still enslaved.
He's like, I was hoping for some, and then it reminds me of like The Incredibles. You got me monologuing. Adam goes to the news terminal Kathika used earlier and opens his link. He calls home and tells his parents not to erase this message from the answering machine and begins to transmit information back in time.
About the microprocessor?
Yeah, like just information
Yeah.
from the
The
computers.
history.
Yeah. The editor begins torturing Rose and the
I kind of felt like, remember, this guy's a scientist. So, like, he's not talking about, like, lottery numbers or whatever
Yeah.
like that. He's talking about the microprocessor, just in case you forgot.
well, because he wants to make money.
I know, but
Yeah.
he's asking about that in case he's such a
Yeah.
doofus, we forgot he's a scientist.
He was also just a little Van Staten
Yeah.
wannabe.
Right.
Hold on, where was I? So he calls home. He puts the information on the answering machine. Okay. The editor begins torturing Rose and the doctor for answers when he detects Adam in the system. He penetrates Adam's brain to find out more about the Time Lord and the Doctor and Rose and time travel and all of this other stuff. So inadvertently, Adam has instead of giving himself information, he's been given the villain the information too. Kathika decides she wants
Wait,
to,
what?
because when the spike hit his brain, the
The
editor
editor knew.
has.
He's part of the system, and the editor can now
So
get
it's
it.
now in like
So everything he knew.
But then how much information is there really? Like,
I mean, he knows he's
Adam is a genius. He's an idiot, but a genius. So he does
Time
have a lot of
Lord.
information.
Time Lord.
He's been in the TARDIS.
time travel,
Time traveling.
travel.
alien.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is that now you know that time travel is possible and can get to the TARDIS. He can go back, stunt humans even further than it was.
Well, at this point, he also knows about Daleks, so I think that'll play in later.
Maybe.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I also think the editor is just happy because he knows.
He knows stuff, yeah.
Now it's like, you can't hold information back from me. I know everything now. So ha ha ha. Ha.
Yeah.
And Adam, that it's really over now with Rose. I can say that's the final straw.
I think him fainting was the final straw.
This is just more on reinforcing that decision.
It's another straw. They keep coming.
Kathika decides she wants to know what is going on and uses the elevator code to access floor 500. She sees the Doctor and the Rose chained up and sees the Jaggerfest on the ceiling.
The rose.
Oh, sorry.
I just saw the visual of that one just got me in that thing.
The Doctor states out loud that the Jaggerfest is producing the heat and needs to be cooled to live. Kathika picks up on the hint and finds an old terminal she can access through the hole in her head. And this is the one that Suki came into and stumbled upon earlier. She shuts down the link to Adam and then reverses the ventilation, sending all the heat back to floor 500, killing the Jaggerfest and the editor. The Doctor and Rose take Adam back to his home.
The editor has a great line.
Yes, what's the line?
He says to Max, "It's impossible. A member of the staff with an idea."
Oh,
And also, she didn't plan to kill the editor, just Jaggerfest. And he, or she, is Jaggerfest a female? I'm not sure. So, uses Suki to stop the editor from escaping.
does that happen, or does Suki, is Suki
Yeah.
completely dead and she doesn't
She
have
did.
any remnants to grab onto the editor?
It's definitely the
Jaggerfest?
The Jaggerfest doing that, but I like to think
Because Suki also grabbed Rose to
Yeah.
stop her when they were captured,
Oh, yeah.
and the other people were being used. And it wasn't the
I mean,
editor
she's
doing
dead.
it, it was Jaggerfest.
But at this
Controlling them.
point, aren't all the people at the panel on the floor because they've collapsed from the connection?
Yeah.
And maybe this is part of Suki's. No.
Consciousness.
No.
I mean, I like to.
I
I mean,
interpreted it
sentimentally,
that
I
way.
like to think it's Suki,
Yeah.
but she's dead.
Okay, just throwing that out there. The Doctor and Rose take Adam back to his home, and the Doctor destroys the answering machine, I think he uses a little excessive. It's a little excessive when it blows up twice almost, it looks like.
Perfect amount.
The Doctor tells Adam he is no longer welcome in the TARDIS and could have altered history if that information were to ever be released. The TARDIS phases out and they leave Adam behind as his mom walks in and sees that he has a hole in his head. I think it's great that the Doctor says open your mind to Adam, but then it's really Kathika that opens her mind to what she can actually do and think for herself. And then Adam gets, even though his mind is physically opened, he's mentally stunted. I think that's great. Great storytelling, great switcheroo, shapeshifting if you use those terms.
I like that Kathika is still alive at the end.
Yeah.
Because that person usually in every episode dies.
Yeah.
So she was able to be saved. And,
If she were a tree, she would have died.
yeah,
Or a maid.
or made.
Suki took that one for her.
Right, yeah.
You know, she went up to get the promotion for 500 rather than Kathika. So.
But she was okay with being sacrificed because she was a revolutionary kind of person. So
Yeah.
she
Right.
wanted to.
Yeah.
That's why. Because when I saw her walk in, I was like, who in their right mind seeing something like that would keep walking further if they didn't see like gold walls? So I'd be like, nope,
Right,
I'm
right.
staying in the elevator. Thank you very much. But then it makes sense that she wanted answers, so that's why she kept exploring. So
But it also makes sense why what Josh said earlier. Nobody was greeting you when the elevator doors opened. 'Cause-
Oh, because he knew that she was. All right.
so then, if it was somebody else that just got promoted, I'm sure there would be the two henchmen. That,
Gotcha.
you know.
Well, that's good. Well, thank you. I'm all answered up then. Do we want to talk about what you were saying before? Or is it too much of a spoiler about why, like how?
Oh, yeah, it's a spoiler. We'll
Yeah,
get to it.
okay.
We'll remember to-
We'll talk about it
yeah.
off the air.
We will visit Satellite 5 again.
Yes,
how far ahead do we visit?
5
season.
episodes?
this season.
Oh, it is
5
this season.
Yeah. about
Oh,
5
is
episodes
that?
from now.
Oh, yeah. We go back there.
Yeah.
We'll talk offline.
We will get there.
Okay.
Ding, 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 like
Well,
Goldberg.
now the listeners who actually know what you're talking about are calling me an idiot. So
Not for the first time.
now they're talking about it. They weren't saying that before.
Now they're saying out loud and
Yeah.
with their eyes.
Does anybody have any insight into what Jagrafess's motivation was for keeping everyone
That's
like
al-
under control,
that's
like
also-
not
Good
advancing
question.
and?
Good question.
That's also an offline
Keep-
conversation.
There might be a
Oh.
story idea.
Oh, okay. So that's
We
not.
can elaborate that in a
That's
few
not something that is
future
No, I mean, just in
answered.
this episode, it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just doing this to do it.
Okay.
And I mean, back to Simon Pegg. He was delighted to be working on Doctor Who. He grew up watching Doctor Who.
I could imagine
you
he
know.
was going
Yeah.
nuts the whole time.
And I think he said that he wanted to be a villain, and he got to be a villain.
cool.
I
He
think
was
that's
great.
Yeah, he gave it 110%.
Yeah, no, he definitely kind of owned that whole episode, like for the other side of the Doctor and everything.
There's another point where he wants the security checked, double check, triple check, quadruple check, and when he gets to the fifth one, he just shoos it away. I think that was all him.
Yeah, I'm sure. And also the scene where Adam gets the surgery that the surgeon.
Or the medical
The
assistant.
medical assistant, whatever, like just oddly erotic with him, and just
Well, she's
Excuse me?
selling. She's selling.
she's
him.
selling it, but it was just
Yeah.
like it was this really intimate bunch of scenes between the two of them and everything. I thought that was it was funny and I liked it, but it was
Well, she wants to make the sale.
yeah, I know,
So she's gonna do whatever she can.
I know, I just
I'd like
Did
to
you
have
mention-
the throat nanites because I think that would be nice.
Oh yeah, the where they where you
oh yeah,
freeze-
the vom what it
Kiwi.
yeah it looks like
vomitomatic.
it looks
Yeah.
like frozen kiwi when he throws up the ice cube.
That would be so convenient at times.
Did you mention who plays the
Yeah, what's her name?
health?
No, I did not have a look that up.
I got
But,
it.
but she has been in episodes with
The show called episodes.
the show called episodes with is it Matthew
Matt
Tamsin.
LeBlanc.
Tamsin Greig.
Yes, or Grieg.
Greig. Yeah. Sorry, it's my cold.
It's okay.
Who is she?
She was on the a show called Episodes with
Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc for us Americans.
She was
She
also.
thinks she's a comedic actress in Britain, and now everyone listening to this in Britain, because I know they all are, again thinks I'm an idiot for not knowing that.
She was also in Shaun of the Dead, apparently.
Oh, that's right.
She was Maggie in Shaun of the Dead.
Right.
I think as they're going past the other group of Sean's
Yes,
ex-girlfriend,
yes.
she's the other
And who is another one of those people? there, a
Oh,
more famous
okay.
person in that line.
Martin Freeman.
Yes, Martin Freeman.
Yeah. And somebody else who we'll see later on in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the Doctor Who and Edgar Wright movies overlap a lot of people.
It's a small.
Harry Jones was the mother.
It's like they all filmed in Vancouver.
Harry Jones was Sean's mother.
Yeah. It's a small pond. So, anything else?
You guys mentioned on last episode that this episode was something that was pitched.
No. That was the
There's
last
no-
episode that was pitched.
The one about the companion, like
The failed
okay,
companion.
The failed companion. Isn't that this episode?
Well, yeah,
Isn't
that's
like
sort of this
Adam's the
episode,
failed
too.
Fails this
companion?
episode.
Well, this one is more of his. We see why he fails. The other one is.
So it's sort of like, yeah, I mean, I think the idea that was pitched was a failed companion, and that little story arced over these 2 episodes.
Well, because this one is written by Russell, where the other one was written by somebody else, and that was the one that he originally pitched.
The previous episode was based on a audio play.
Audio, yeah.
This one, according to Russell Davies, this episode was based on an idea he submitted in the 1980s. So
I
those
got
are
them.
different.
I got them switched. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's this one.
Yeah, so Dalek was based off of an audio play, and this one was his failed
So,
companion.
so Kelsey, you are right. I got them switched.
Yeah, and for
Tell
me,
her what
that's
she's
the
won.
only that's the only thing interesting that come out of this episode is to show us that not everyone gets to travel with the Doctor. Rose is special, and therefore she gets to travel with the Doctor.
Yeah, this episode is very heavy. Like, the main point of this episode is very heavy on the antagonist. Like the bulk
Yeah.
of the episode's motivation is not the Doctor and Rose. They really don't do anything till the very end.
Yeah, they're kind of just thrown into this situation.
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
kind of have to rectify it.
Yeah, so it is very, and I think that's one good thing with Simon Pegg. Like, he definitely carries that. He's like, when you think of this episode, well, usually when you think of an episode, you think of what the Doctor did in that episode. But in this episode, you think of Simon Pegg, or the editor. Sorry.
Right.
And according to TARDIS Wiki, Adam has the dubious distinction of being the first and to date only known companion to have his TARDIS traveling rights revoked by the Doctor due to bad behavior. He's the only one.
Naughty boy. Oh well.
Don't let the door hit you.
But it's such a commentary on the whole news information. It's so frustrating. Even if you like search in the internet, everything goes to things that are similar to that search to try and get well, you looked at this, so here are other things that are similar to that. And you can't get a full picture of what's going on because you have to then search the opposite.
It is interesting
to try and get the other side of the information rather than getting the actual news that when I
you
remember
want.
growing up is that you'd get cold hard facts and news and you wouldn't get the commentary stuff with
Yeah.
it. And this is all it's what's going towards Satellite 5. It's like
Well,
we're
even-
just
I mean-
programming it to be what you want to hear and just channeling it for all the different channels.
I mean, Facebook admitted last year that, yes, they manipulated people's news feeds to show certain things because they were experimenting. They
Right.
wanted to see if they could shift people's view by shifting our news.
And such a warning, but no one's going to listen. It's still happening.
Well, the thing about it's interesting because this episode was written, was aired or whatever, kind of before Facebook and all that took off. And even though what you're saying is true, everything on Facebook is written by the public. So it's like by the time social media became what it is now, you couldn't really. It's harder to fool the masses with one idea because there's so many people's ideas out there that are the masses.
I mean, you say the Facebook is written by the public, is it? I don't think it is.
Well, people's
don't.
posts are. What do you mean? Friends
Yeah,
of
but
yours?
that's only part of. But that's only part of Facebook. You get everything where it's like it's all marketing.
Well, yeah, there's definitely stuff that people aren't writing on there, but I'm generalizing here.
No, but I'm being serious. It's like the Facebook is not being. I don't think it's a marketing push. They are pushing a certain product.
Suggested post.
Well,
What
that's
product's
add
based
onto
on
your
what you
page.
are posting. If I'm posting and I'm talking about Star Trek in my post, then all of a sudden I start getting articles. Hey, do you want to read about this?
Oh,
that
yeah.
has something to do with Star Trek. It's all manipulating me to read stuff about Star Trek,
right.
which I do. I just acknowledge that I'm being manipulated.
Yeah.
But I have things that come in because other people that I'm associated with, friends with, family, they have different political views and their stuff starts then coming in on mine. And it's like so far different from what I'm I would think, but it's just odd how it's like, because I got, they're linked.
Right.
I get all this other information.
It
It's
fits
just,
into
guess-
their algorithm.
I guess
so it
it's
is.
just-
You can't find the truth because you are just being grouped together.
Yeah.
And all
It
this
is just
stuff.
interesting, that if this episode was made once Facebook was more established, the whole social media component would have been in this episode,
Right.
and they
Yeah,
would have
for
really
sure.
figured. So it is very of the time.
Well, I'm almost thinking it,
glad
foreshadowed
it's
all of the
not.
different YouTubers. I mean,
Yeah.
it has, Kathica being the center one, and they're going out to these other
Right,
6
right,
people who have their own channels, kind of like we would see in the YouTube, and they'd each pick up from whoever they want to watch.
What year was it again? Did they say?
2005,
2005 is when this aired.
No. What year was this episode supposed to take place?
200,000.
200,000. Okay, never mind.
All right.
I mean, you
had
even
an
know,
idea,
like-
but what's that?
Oh, no, sorry. We weren't working together at the time. But I mean, we know that celebrities' Twitter feeds are
Aren't that
not
yeah.
the celebrities. It's their publicists,
publicists.
or it's even their marketers.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And I mean, I've been sitting in meetings where I'm listening to this going, wait, what? How it's just in the marketing plan
Yeah.
to, okay, and on this date, we will have the star of the movie say this on Twitter. It's Satellite 5.
So I do think it was foreshadowing, and it was
which-
good information of where things are going, and it did. And it's
Honestly-
still going on that way.
I mean, I won't say it's inherently a bad thing. I just think that people should acknowledge it and
Or be
know.
aware.
That would just be
Yeah.
my thing. I'm off my high horse now.
All right. So, will we recommend this for a first-time new Who viewer? Kelsey.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Albert.
Yep.
No, I think they would get confused because Adam is a one-time character. We don't see him again. And I think this was the first complete episode that I watched. And I really thought that Adam was her boyfriend. And then I just got confused. So I would
Yeah.
say,
I can see
I'd
that.
say it's not the best as a first episode. It's kind of one of those, yeah.
That's a no for Kelsey. Albert.
Yeah, I would agree. Not for somebody's first episode. Yeah.
Good. Brian.
This would be a no, because this episode for me is just so completely neutral. I don't like it at all. I don't dislike it at all. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
It's a no for me.
That would be Frank. No. Arlene.
I just want to say yes because everyone else has said no. But
There's always one.
no, when I first watched this and the second time watching it, I was kind of bored. Except for the editor, because I think he's a great actor, but it was just kind of boring.
Yeah.
So maybe if you have a friend who's a big Simon Pegg fan, you show them this.
Yeah.
You could do that.
And you're like, I know you're not interested in Doctor Who, but
Simon
watch
Pegg.
this episode.
But then there's no more Simon Pegg, so they're not going to keep watching.
Right. It's someone that has no interest in Doctor Who and will never want to watch Doctor
But
Who.
it might awaken something within them.
Yeah, maybe.
You're
If they like
narrowing
Simon
that
Pegg.
demographic.
That's what we do, right? You're like, this episode is good for Who as a first time viewer. Simon Pegg fan.
Josh, your verdict.
No, I don't think so. But I like this episode more than most people. I think, mostly because of Simon Pegg.
Agreed.
But I like it because it's a peek into this world. Like this is something going on, and then it has a callback later, like we were talking about. So I like it as part of the world.
Agreed.
And so, and I also had a couple notes that I didn't mention earlier, but just how cool and calm and collected the Doctor is, and certain things that he says, and I like a lot of little things about this. It is very. This is how you make a suspense moment. This is very by the numbers as far as filmmaking, but it all works for the most part. But anyway,
I would have to say no as well. I can't think of anything new that we haven't said. So I think it's unanimous. We're not going to recommend this to a new Who viewer. All right, I guess that does it for us tonight.
And Ender doesn't want to recommend it either.
Ender would be the dog.
I just want to comment that Eugene, whenever we vote on whether it's an episode, writes little tick marks as to who said yes and how many people said no.
No, I think that's great. I was going to ask him to do that.
Oh,
Because,
okay.
But
I
I
just think
can't
it's-
forget
I
it
don't
because
mind it.
I'd love to know at the end of the season.
Oh, is that what you're doing? Are you tallying up for
I-
the end of the season?
I don't remember when I started. I definitely didn't start the first one.
I just think it's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
I may want to change one of my votes because I remember you guys talking about the episode with Charles Dickens,
Unquiet Dead.
Unquiet Dead. And what you had said, Arlene, is made me think. And it's like, well, maybe I would change it to a yes. If we're going to do official, it's like I should
I think you
change
said that at
one.
the time.
But she had already, he had already,
Oh, he already had
rendered
his hash
verdict,
mark?
and then and then she.
And you don't change the hash mark.
This is a pen. I don't make mistakes.
I just think it's funny. There's only 7 of us here, and we're not even tallying anything.
But it's
You're
more.
making
It's
little-
more for posterity's sake rather than me not being able to add.
So you're going to keep that piece of paper in your files for so you're going to be an old man.
Yeah, I'll be like, nope, not that episode.
Let me tell you something, Sonny. On the episode with Simon Pegg, 4, 5, or 6 of us said no, and one schmuck said yes. What does that mean? I can't. If you don't know, I'm not telling you.
I just think it could be
And
interesting.
then by that time you're that old, every doctor is who to you.
But at the end of a season, it could be like, oh yeah, that was a really good season, and then we look at the statistics. None of us would show any of these to a new person.
No.
We should do that.
You got to find all your little
I'll do
chicken
that.
scratches.
So I guess that's it. I hope you had a fun time listening to, a mediocre episode, but with some good things sprinkled.
Well, the Doctor Who episode was mediocre.
Yes,
I don't
not
know
the
if our
not
episode.
us.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
This is where my idiocy became self-aware.
So we will see you all when the future becomes the present. You've heard our views. What do you think of Adam? Is he an official companion? Is he the worst? Is he misunderstood? He's the worst. Let us know. Email us at whoknewpodcast@gmail.com.
You've just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady. You can find his work at theuniverseexplodes.com.
You can also find this show on several places. Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Who Knew Podcast.
All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com. You can leave comments there or email us at whoknewpodcast@gmail.com.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who, the longest-running sci-fi show in history, and especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T. Davis.
Thanks to Russell, Sidney Newman, Verity Lambert, Ron Grainer, and all those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
Your work continues to inspire and entertain.